Hi traders, so it's Beniki here from the Bankers Club, and what I thought I'd do in this video is a very brief overview of how you can use the institutional tools such as market profiles and footprint charts to analyze trades and find the higher probability winning trade setups when they're coming into your point of interest. So in these examples, what I've done is I've got a 5 minute chart up here, which is just a standard 5 minute candlestick chart. You could be using to find your points of interest. You could be using things like smart money concepts or ICT strategies, or even just your normal MT4 support and resistance indicators, which is actually what I did use for demonstrational purposes on this here. This is a 5 minute chart on Great British Pound US dollar, and the software did highlight this area as a potential area of demand, and it did actually reject from there. But as we know, normal indicators print so many zones and you never know which ones they're going to trade for and which ones are going to be respected. So we use our tools and strategies to give us the edge and actually be able to validate these actual zones and know that the trade that we're getting in is likely to turn out to be a winner. So with that said, let's jump into this properly. We can see we've got footprint charts and market profile charts here as well, but I'll go on to the next slide and things will all become clear. So obviously 5 minute candlestick chart, we've rejected from this area here, which is the area of demand. Now we can use straight away our market profile charts, and this is a level which is generated by the software that's called a point of control. Right there, and as you can see, we came down, tapped into it to the pip, and I mean to the pip, literally pinpoint accuracy. And you can see we rejected for a 60 pip move up, and that is that area there. So as you can see straight away, we can use our market profile software to validate the trade and give it sort of a much higher probability that it's going to be a high winning trade setup. So that's called a market profile. This is called a point of control. We can also use other levels as well, but we'll go into that in another video. I'm trying to keep this very simple because I'm assuming that a lot of you that are watching this video have probably never even heard of market profiles before. And obviously, if you want to learn more, you can just reach out to me and I'll have a chat with you. But yeah, so we rejected exactly to the pip from the point of control in alignment with this area of demand. We want more confluence though, don't we? And we can get it. So we're now on to something called the footprint chart, which analyzes the order flow, the transactions taking place real time between the buyers and the sellers. Now, I won't go again into too much detail. I'll try and keep it as easy to understand as possible. But basically, we had these red numbers selling, coming into the area of interest, which was that green box and that point of control. We then got the rejection tail, which you all know, I'm sure, a pin tail. And that tells me that there was absorption taking place. So basically, what I'm seeing is this red profile there, these red boxes. That tells me there's aggressive selling coming into the area of interest, which is that point of control, followed by the rejection tail, the candle closing higher, which tells me there's absorption taking place. So aggressive sellers were coming down into the area of interest. They got absorbed by passive buyers, which is buy limit orders getting filled. Price then started rallying away. We can see here as well, which is an important confluence, an increase in volume. We can also see this big green number. That means basically there's a lot of buyers, that's buy side delta, then taking control. The point of control there, you can see, has got the most buying in taking place there. We can also see this blue box, which is another study set up by me to show stacked imbalances of a specific percentage. So here we know buyers then became aggressive, and we can then see we came back down, tapped into this blue box again. Again, we got the rejection tail as more limit orders got filled, and then big green numbers as we started rallying away. So that's how we use basically the footprint. There's a lot more to it than that, but I'm trying to discuss it very simply for you in case you've never even heard of these terms before. And then we've got another confluence we can add, which is one of my charts where I've set up a study or an indicator to trigger when all the certain parameters coded by me are triggered to show the absorption, and that gets triggered as well. And it was on this magenta line, which is, again, I'll talk about this on another advanced video. So that automatically triggers as well, which gives us just another confluence that there's a high probability that the trade's going to turn out in our favor should we enter a long position. And again, you can see that was down there, and up we go. And it's basically as simple as that. So we can obviously find our areas of supply and demand using a candlestick chart, using whatever strategies you use, whether it be supply and demand, smart money concepts, ICT, market makers method, anything like that. And then we can use the market profiles, the footprint charts, the absorption chart to then start analyzing at the point of interest and give us a probability of a higher winning trade setup. So hopefully you got a little bit of value from that, an introduction into how we can use our tools and strategies. And if you want to know anything else, then obviously reach out to me on Beneki. You can drop me an email or just go on my website or look me up on Instagram at the Bankers Club. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you possibly in the future on the other side. Right, nice one. Cheers, guys. Take it easy. Over and out.